Who's your target market? My bet is it's too big. You're too broad. You need to niche it down. Welcome back. This is Jeff Heggie with Daily Success Strategies. Thanks for being with me today. What I want to talk about today is your niche market. Last week I did an episode. We talked about finding your avatar, finding your ideal client, and knowing exactly who they are and using that to make decisions for your company. Well, one of the first steps, and probably one of the most important, is niching down and figuring out who your target market is. You need to do that even before you figure out who your avatar is. It's one of the most important steps, but it's also probably one of the most resisted steps by entrepreneurs and small business owners. And why is that? Well, it's because you don't want to narrow it down. You want to be a huge market. You want to sell to everybody, right? Well, as the saying goes, when you try to be everything to everyone, you're going to be successful at being nothing to anyone. When you can niche down and really narrow down to your target market, you're going to be a lot more successful. The best case scenario is not to be the best at what you are in your niche market. The best case scenario is to be the only one in that niche market. We got over 7 billion people on the earth. That's not your market. You need to narrow it down to a very small group of people, because that small group of people can still be huge. So let me share an example with you. I was thinking about this morning. If my wife wanted to start another company, she could do it this way. So in 2012, we adopted a beautiful little boy from the DR Congo in Africa. And when we did that, the process we had to go through was crazy. I'm not going to go into all the details of why we chose there and how we ended up going there, but because the Congo isn't part of the Hague Convention, there's not a process to follow to do it. There's no one there to help you. It was everything we had to do on our own. We had to figure out on our own. And as I say we, I mean my wife. And it was a ton of work, and there was so much to learn and so many hoops to jump through and all these different things. And then we finally got the adoption done. And then we had to wait for permission to come to Africa to go pick them up. And then we got there and we had to wait for permission to leave the country with them. And there was so many things. How much better would it have been if we had somebody, a professional, that could have shown us the way, told us the things we needed to do, told us, you start by getting approval from the Alberta government to do an adoption. The next thing you do is this. The next thing you do is this. And these are the things you have to expect. There were people that could help us piece things together. We knew when we went over that there was going to be certain expenses that we had to cover when the government asked for them, those sort of things. But there was no one there to walk us through the process, and she had to figure everything out on her own. Well, what if she got home and she decided that she was going to start that as a business? She was going to help people with their adoptions. So let's start from the 30,000 foot level. 7 billion people, is that her target market? No, not everyone on earth is doing an adoption. So I actually heard Dean Graziosi talking about this last week, and he started with a big circle, and as he narrowed it down, he got to the dot, and that's your niche. And that's what I want you to visualize as I talk about this, because we start with a big circle. It's planet Earth. Then we break it down to all those families that are doing adoptions. Is that her target market? No. Okay, what if we break it down to all the families that are doing international adoptions? It's getting more of what her expertise are in from what she learned as we went through this long process. But she didn't know how to do all the stuff for adopting from China. She didn't know how to do all the stuff for adopting from Russia. So that's not her target market either. That's not where her expertise is. Okay, what if she narrowed it down more to African adoptions? We're getting closer to the dot. She's got more of an expertise there. There's a lot more people that she can be specific about and help. But we can keep going. What if it was all the countries that weren't part of the Hague Convention? That would definitely be a help, because those are the people that don't have someone to help them out. But then, what if she kept going? What if she was specific to helping people that were adopting from the DR Congo? Yeah, that eliminates all those that are adopting, but they're not adopting from the DR Congo. But she can't help all those. She didn't have the expertise to help every single one of those. But she has the expertise to specifically help those that are adopting from the DR Congo. And from our experience going through it, she wouldn't just be the best in that industry. She wouldn't be the best one to hire. She would be the only one to hire. And she has the experience. What do you need to do to start? What do you need to do with the adoption agency? What do you do when you end up finding out that your adoption agency is unethical and they're getting shut down? What's your next step? Going through all those different steps, that's where she could create a business that she's really niched it down to a small group, but she's the go-to person because she's the only go-to person there. And would we have hired someone like that? Absolutely. And so would 90% of the people that are going through the process. They would pay for the speed. They would pay for the experience. They can speed up so many things because of her experience and knowledge that they don't have, and they don't have to learn it. They would pay to avoid the mistakes that we made. So, very important that you look at this. As you look at your target market, you can't be everything to everyone. You've got to niche it down. You've got to be specific about who your target market is. And then once you figure that out, one of the things I've heard it said before, niche it till it hurts. Because most people, by the time they get to the right level, they think they've niched down too far. That's when you've got to the right point. The more specific you are, the more specific you can be in your marketing and everything that you're doing. Once you've done that, go back to my episode from last week, figure out who your avatar is so that as you make decisions, you know exactly who you're selling to and who that person is. In that example, I walked through the process of me figuring out my avatar, my ideal client for my podcast, The Jeff Heggie Show. And yeah, are there going to be people outside of that niche, outside of that avatar that are going to listen to it? Yeah, I hope so. But that's not who I'm focused on. You focus on your specific ones, and that's who you're trying to serve. They're the ones that you're trying to figure out what their struggles are, and you're going to solve them for them. As you do that, you're going to be much more successful in building your business and getting the results that you're desiring. If you're a business owner that needs to figure these things out and you need some help with that, let me help you figure these things out. Send me a DM or email me at jeff@jeffheggie.com, and I'll help walk you through these things to figure out who your market is, who your avatar is, and what you need to do the proper marketing to grow your business and be successful. Thanks for being with me again. Now, one of the things I want to suggest to do, go listen to my podcast on the Jeff Heggie Show today. It's an incredible podcast. Have someone on there. I talk about character and what you do when you have $1.1 million slip through your fingertips. I saw this happen to this guy, and I was amazed at the character he had and the person he is. So go listen to that, the Jeff Heggie Show. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, all those things. Thanks for being with me. Please go check that out. I'll be back with you again tomorrow.